As soon as you log into your Prompt account and launch the AppPulse Active, this will be your landing page or the front page which you would see. AppPulse Active on the front page will show all the applications which you are monitoring in your environment. And the major categories or the major display options are the two KPIs, application availability and application performance. The small drill downs here will take you further into investigating the issue. However, you can also, on the same screen, on the front page, you can also look at the alerts which were generated in the recent past. You can click on View and see what were the recent most alerts generated for your particular application and identify that, okay, so these were the emails I got from the ops team and I need to investigate this, and this is the exact situation they're facing right now. On this dashboard, you will also have the help prompts. You can stop them by clicking on this button so that you are not given the help options again and again. But if you want, this is a very intuitive way to know your application better. Now, every application which is monitored will have 4 tabs on the right-hand side. As we discussed, first tab will show you application status of availability and performance in details of each and every application, each and every business transaction you are monitoring. The Slm tab will take you to the service level management and give you an overview of the SLA, service level agreements you have created. App Server tab is the one which we discussed, that the agent will give you capabilities to monitor performance of your CPU, memory, and other App Server metrics. And the Analytics tab is the Predictive Analytics tab. Right now, we are looking at the application from an operator's perspective. We do not have any admin features right here, but later on, I'll show you how easy it is to get this application monitored up and running in just 5 minutes. All right, so I can clearly see that I'm having both availability and performance issues with this application. So why not take a look at the application status in detail with each and every application listed here, with each and every transaction listed here. So I can see my online banking application has these many transactions which I am monitoring right now. I can view this data for the past 12 hours or past 2 hours or the past day, and I can even select any calendar date in the past from this calendar option. So as I can see, in the last 12 hours, one of my applications is not performing well. Now, let's further scroll down and see what this location performance over time tells me. So location performance over time is telling me that I am monitoring my application from 3 locations in the world. One is Atlanta, other one is Boston, and the third one is Amsterdam. Now, first of all, I want to figure out, although it is quite evident here that the availability of this application, this transaction, was disturbed at 10 a.m. in the morning, and since then we are having availability issues. But I want to also see whether all my 3 applications were affected by this issue, or it's just about one particular location. So on this graph, on this timer, I can start it from 12:28 a.m. and then until this time, 12 p.m. And if I play this, I will see that my locations are green right now. And they are green until 8 a.m. and 9. Okay, so something happened between 9 and 10 a.m. and all these 3 locations were getting affected by that. So it's not just about one particular location, but all the locations. So it gives me a fair idea that there is something wrong with my application. Now let's look at that particular transaction. So if I click on this transaction, it will take me to the Synthetic Error Investigation tab. Here, I have captured the messages or the errors which the users are experiencing right in front of them on the browser. It has also captured a snapshot. Let's take a look at this snapshot. All right. So the snapshot is exactly the error what a end user will be experiencing on its end on the web browser, and it is clear that we have a server 500 error here. So now since I have already experienced these kind of errors and I know what to do with this server 500 error, I can easily resolve my situation. Now let's go back to the application overview tab again. We have already discussed about the availability and how I can isolate the availability issues. Now let's talk about the performance of this application. All right, the same way I can tweak with these dates and times, and I can see that most of the applications are performing well under the thresholds, the static thresholds we have set. However, some of these transactions are yellow, which means they are minor deviations from the normal execution of these transactions. So why not drill down into one of these transactions, see how these transactions are performing over time. So this is the performance graph you would see, and on this graph right now, the money transfer login transaction is depicted. However, you can also check any one of these transactions and compare the results. So you can see that the one which is in red is clearly above 15, so which means that it is breaching the transaction response time thresholds. Now, it also lists you, if you scroll down, it also lists the worst servers impacting these transactions. Worst servers, so which means the application servers which are running these applications are also affecting this latency. But right now, I want to get more in depth into this particular transaction. So if I click on that particular transaction, which was under investigation, on this graph, I will see a synthetic layer investigation. It tells me about how much is the time in the response time, how much is client time contributing, how much is the download time contributing, retry time, connection time, and all that stuff. Also in this graph at the lower end, it tells me, or it categorizes the problems into 3 major tiers. It clearly shows me that most of the time is spent on the web layer. Then there is some time spent on the outbound calls and also on the business logic or business tier. So this is how I can break down my application's metrics which I have collected so far and get more details for each and every application. Now, there are some applications which also contain third-party components. It's not always the in-house developed applications, but there are sometimes we involve multiple external components in an application which can also lead to the poor performance of the application. I have one such application here which I'm monitoring, WordPress. I have a chat system or chat component in this application which helps users to chat with our customer service reps. The same way you can see availability and performance. You can see locations. I'm monitoring from 2 locations. But what I want to show here is that in this particular application, I want to see which component is contributing to this average 1.83 seconds response time. So I know that in this particular application, there is a no-class URL transaction which leads me to the chat window. So I want to go into the application status, and I'll go to the performance tab, and click on no glass URL. Now it will again take me to the synthetic transaction isolation as we went in the online banking example before. And now once I click on this transaction, it will again take me to the synthetic layer investigation where I see client time, download time, and all those things. Now I see that this has the largest peak. Let me see what is contributing to this one. All right, so I can see here the domain that everything else is from the noglass.co.il. However, there's one component, Virtual Spirit, which is also contributing to the response time of this application here. And as I said, this is a chat system we have in place for this particular application. Although it is not contributing as much to the low performance, or overall the performance of the application is fine, it is green. However, in case of any isolation of the problems, or in case this particular thing was affecting your application, you can easily come here and see and identify that your application was perfectly fine. It is the third-party component in the application which is causing those issues. All right, so this was the visualization and the problem isolation part of the demonstration. So let's get into the service level management now. I have created a service level agreement for this particular application. And you can see that one service level agreement is for availability, and similarly, one is for performance. The same way we can see the service level agreement for the past month, past week, quarter, or a year. And you can see here that each transaction has been displayed here. Now you can also see in a graphical mode. And this particular service level agreement is based on both business hours, which is 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, and also on 24/7. I can clearly see that this particular transaction is breaching the service level agreement. So I need to fix that. All right. So, and you can define, once you have the administrative rights here, you can define your thresholds and you can define the transactions which should be included in your service level agreement easily. All right. Let's move on to the Predictive Analytics feature. In the Predictive Analytics, if I click on the Analytics tab, on the front page, it tells me clearly that the business impact of this anomaly, which is identified, which might not be causing any issues right now, but it might cause something in future, is impacting 2 locations, and it is affecting 2 transactions, which is buy stock and saving to checking. Now, if I further scroll down, I can see that the top causes, it has identified that the top cause could be a code change, or a known issue is that there is an incorrect DB server memory configuration which is causing a swap rate. So how did we get this known issue? So if you further scroll down, you will see similar anomalies. You will see that the same kind of situation appeared on October 21st at 1:38 p.m., October 31st, and 1st of November and 2nd of November. And you can see that this issue, which happened on November 2nd, is 91% relating to the issue which we have in hand right now. So obviously, when we had this issue on October 31st and November 2, we might have investigated the issue, and we came to a resolution. At that time, we saved that, and that is the reason it is correlating that with the known issue. So if you click on that known issue, it will show up, or it will show up the particular layers or the particular thing which might be causing that. So it says that on the infrastructure level, there is an abnormal metric, which is a JDBC wait time, the connection to your database. Now you identified it as a root cause, but right now here you have the capability to unmark it and say that, okay, this is not my root cause. I need to investigate more. Furthermore, you can go into investigation, and let me explain this graph to you first. So in this graph, the green part is the dynamic threshold or the dynamic baseline the predictive analytics engine has created for your application based on the seasonality and historic data, which you have captured over time. So it is not static. Till the time your application is within those green things, your application is performing well. And on the same graph, you will also see that some of the alerts were generated at this time. And if you click on one of those, you will see what exactly the alert was generated about this particular thing. Now, these were the top causes. You can also look at how it correlated this particular transaction or this particular issue with other. So there have been no correlation so far. Let's look at the investigation metrics. So how is it correlating, or what are the components which it is taking under consideration for creating that anomaly? So anomaly means any possible cause or possible issue which can appear in the future. So you can see that it is correlating this particular transaction, buy stock from Amsterdam, with the response time, with the server metrics, with JDBC connection time, and all those things. So it is automatically, it is not just basing its results on one particular metric, it is correlating all of those, or it is investigating this issue with other metrics as well. All right, so this was your HP AppPulse Active from the operator's perspective. Let's talk more about the AppPulse Mobile. Now, the AppPulse Mobile interface is like this. This will show up on the landing page that the number of applications you are monitoring. It can be an iOS application or an Android application. As you can see here with the icon, this is Android, and these are iOS applications. Total 2120 active users are accessing your applications right now. And this is the Fundex score. On the Fundex score, we identify that your application is performing fairly, but not good. However, this application is performing good. The second tab gives you the response time, which says that it takes 2.2 seconds to load one application. And these are the number of crashes which have happened over the period of time when your application was accessed. So it was 17% failure. However, this application has a better response time, which is 1.9 than the Apple app. However, the crashes are 89. And that is the reason your Fundex score is lower than that one. So Fundex score takes into consideration all your various features. Now, if I'm talking about Fundex score, let's get into more details about it. So I click on Fundex score and I see that I got 80 as my Fundex score, which is fair. Now, if I go further down, I can see what is causing my Fundex score to lower down. On the UI performance tab, I can see that 16 points lost due to UI performance, which means 5 points lost because of the slow launch of the application, and 11 points are lost because slow actions. So my application did not launch properly for that 5 points have been deducted. If you come onto the stability tab, you can see that my application has crashed multiple times, and I have lost 4 points on that. Now, on this tab further down, I can also see the app versions. So the latest app version is 4.6, and the Fundex score is 16. There were 143 total users who are using the latest version of app. So the latest version is not performing well. However, 3.4 version, which was prior to 4.6, had 261 users in total, and it has a 91 Fundex score. Now, this was all about Fundex score. Let's get more into the performance of this application. I can see that the average response time of my app is 1.9, and 30.8% of actions which I take on my application take more than 20 seconds, which is bad. Now, I can also see the user actions which are taken place on this particular application. So there are 484 users which took more than 2 seconds for this particular action, and 1160 users which are accessing this particular action. Now, if I know this action is causing problems, let me click on that, and see what the issue could be. So as I further scroll down, I can see that this particular application is running on different OS versions, the Android OS versions, which is Jelly Bean 4.3, 4.1.2, and 340 users are using it. And on this particular operating system, 1.8 is the response time. And this is also shown in the tabular form. This list will show you the devices through which your particular application is accessed. So overall, you are getting statistics from your complete, from your real user experience. Now, if I go to the Stability tab, here I will find the crashes. 91 users with crashes over this particular time from November 3rd to 4th. And now if I click on this particular crash, I can see that this crash happened on Sony Xperia, where it had the application version at 3.2, also on Samsung 3.4 version. And if I click on one of those, I will see the stack trace of particular error, or I can send this particular crash log, easily download or email it to one of the colleagues or one of the persons who has developed this app, which can give better idea about where he has to troubleshoot the issue. Now, this was from the application, the operator's perspective. Now, let's go into an environment where I have the administrative rights. So on this, I will show you how easy it is to create one application for monitoring. I click on Settings and click on Application Settings. Here, I can easily create one application. Once it loads up, I will click on the plus sign. It will give me an option to type the name of the application. I will type the name of the application, and I will select the locations where I want to monitor it from. So sorry, this is the time zone I have selected here. This is the frequency. So this is the customizable frequency I was talking about, that you can say that I want to run this application every 3 minutes. Then you need to select your public locations. I want to monitor my application from Amsterdam and Bangkok. Now, it also gives you an option to select your private location. So once you select the private location option, you need to download a simple package and start monitoring it from your internal locations. Now, the default thresholds are set here, but you can obviously change those. These are your static thresholds. Once you are done, click on Done. So I did not select, okay. So once I click on Done, I will further go into this application and add my business transactions. So to add my business transactions, I need to edit the application. So this prompt is already giving me suggestions what I need to do. Sorry, I clicked on Done again. But on this Edit button, you would get an option to create to select your transaction. So if you have a Vusion script already created, you can upload those scripts like this here, or you can create your own scripts now using the through client script generator and upload those scripts. Once you have uploaded the scripts, this will be up and running in just 5 minutes, and you'll start monitoring, and you can look at the dashboard on the landing page. And you do not have to wait for the scripts to upload and start monitoring. You will be notified using an email notification. On this tab, I also wanted to show you that you can not just generate the reports for your particular application. However, for each application, for each graph, you can schedule. For each graph, you can schedule a report generation. You can schedule a daily report as a mail attachment, or schedule a weekly report as a mail attachment, or right here, you can send the report as a mail attachment. Now let's look at the AppPulse mobile administration. So it is again as simple as just clicking on this button to add an application. So let's say I have a test mobile application, and that is Android or iOS application. So I select Android, click OK. It will ask you, it will first of all, it has a video here with which you can easily find how you can set up this application, or you can also, you just need to download a SDK, save those libraries in your application code. So you do not have to make any changes to the code, or you do not have to add any tags. You just need to import these files into the project and then upload the project again, or launch your app again on the App Store, and then it will start capturing the real-time user statistics and send it to the AppPulse interface. So this is how simple it was to set up, and that was the product demonstration.